Hello there, darlings. I've got my Keith Moon voice on for this absolute darling, daring show of GlassOnionTV. This is the launch, and doing me heading because he's drunk. But we've got Alan McGee come.
Hey! Don't waste all that film there. Come on.
All right. He can't even see me eyes.
You alright? My name's Stu. He's Mitch from Glass Onion Show, aren't we? And guess what? This is Glass Onion TV, you mugs. Right, go.
Welcome to Glass Onion TV, man. We are here with Alan McGee from Creation Records. This is an exclusive. This is the launch of the TV show, mate.
That's it. We're superstars. We're on TV.
Off. Right. So, here's the interview. And welcome back to the Glass Onion Radio Show down at the Boogaloo in Highgate. Come down to the church, the unholy church, for the unholy ceremony. You know it's real, man. You do know it's real, don't you, Stu?
It is fucking real, man.
You gonna fucking talk or what? Come
on,
man.
mate. Oh, you fucking talking. It's rude to talk over people.
Oh, it's such an honour. We are joined here for the unholy, well, I'd say unholy matrimony then, but unholy ceremony here with Alan McGee. He's at the altar. Alan McGee is in the studio at last, man.
Yeah, good to be here. It's good.
Man, yeah. It's gonna get mental because these stories are fucking insane. You know, I sort of grew up with you sort of up here. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knew Alan McGee was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 31. Stu's about 12 still. Yeah. But we've always known Alan McGee. I know so many people that bumped into you on the road, man. And always got good things to say. And I'm like, oh, when am I gonna fucking meet Alan McGee, man? And it's
at the end of Instagram direct message. Come on, McGee. All right.
Man,
that's it, man. That's it.
That's got some funny stories. We'll
bring that up later. We'll bring it up later.
But no, that was Columbia by Oasis. Well, I did play that simply because it's 22 years this weekend since Nebworth.
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange. That gig was amazing, but it was actually we'd taken it to as far as it could ever go at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Would you say that was the peak of your career?
I don't think it was a peak of my career because I don't really judge it that we played to 125,000 people, so that was great. Blah blah blah. I don't think in the terms of that. But I think as the label goes, the old Creation Records and Oasis go, it was probably the peak. That part was the peak. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking insane. When you look at Nebworth, as what Noel Gallagher says, the last great gathering of the people. Yeah. It's just mental.
Well, that was before the internet, and none of us really understood what that really meant. So maybe the last 2 or 3 years, really. And the fact that it got that big, I always think, God, could you imagine if it had come along after the internet? Do you know what I mean? How much bigger would it have been? Do you know what I mean?
But when you was at Nebworth, did you ever sit for a second and go, fuck me, I've created this? Because
I didn't create it. Do you know what I mean? All I did really was I facilitated Oasis to put records out. That was really all I really did.
You give it to the people.
Yeah, I did. But I was a conduit more than anything else. Really, I wasn't really the alchemist. I just was like the person that was putting it out there. Really,
I'd have taken that tag all day long. I would have done. I'd have gone, look at this. This is my park, man. This is me.
No, but it was great, and it was as good as it's ever going to be in my life. I think that time, but yeah, it was a moment. I think it was that. I remember looking out at Nebworth and thinking like, oh, this is what we tried to do when we got the label together in '83. What we were trying to do was merge punk and psychedelia, and then Oasis had taken it to 2 nights at Nebworth, 250,000 people, and that was as big as it could ever get, and it probably. I'm glad that they just rolled on and now they get the solo careers. Yeah. But the other side of me, the kind of more, how could you put it, the more kind of like rock geek person that I, deep down in my head, I actually am. I should have stopped the label then. They should have stopped the band then. Do you know what I mean?
It would have, regardless, it would have gone down in history.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
So do you think if you hadn't discovered them, that someone else would have come along and snapped them up, or
they would have, but it would have worked in a totally different way? Because what we were just saying when Columbia was playing, I was just part of that story. There was a lot of they had to have the right manager, which was Marcus Russell. They had to have the right band as people and everything. which they did, for the first couple of lineups. They had to have the right record label, but everything had to be so correct, for it to become that big. Do you know what I mean? And they happened to just get every single part of it right. Do you know what I mean? So I was only part of the story.
You're too humble, Alan.
No, but I'm being real about it. You know what I mean? Because it's too easy to go, I done this and that. I'm part of that whole story. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's enough for me, man. That was such a great thing to be part of. Do you know what I mean?
So we've jumped in there right at the big gun.
Yeah.
At Nebworth there.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
come back to it at the end and chat from.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a weird thing because obviously, like, just bumping into you for the first time just outside there, it's mad. You just go, fuck me, it's Alan McGee, man. And you'd want to ask a million questions. I mean,
starts getting, man. It's good.
Being lovers of music and stuff.
Boogaloo Brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. We must talk. We must talk about your show as well.
Yeah, no. But I love the Boogaloo, because it's like Jerry and Jen. I just think what they're creating here. They've got you. They've got they get Mickey Beans. They get Prick Smith. They get Mike Smith and Rob. They get me. It's like they've got about 5 or 6 now really great shows. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah,
there's other good shows as well that are kicking around. I think there's a guy that does. I can't remember what the hell he's called. But he plays a lot of like John Spencer Blues Explosion.
Right.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
And we played them.
And I listened to his show on the Mixcloud thing, and I thought that was pretty good.
Was that Mark Hayward?
I don't know what his name is, but it was a good show, man.
Yeah,
played loads of Spiritualized as well.
Oh fuck yes,
so
man. Jay Spaceman.
Yeah, he's got a good show. So I think the Boogaloo, it's really not everything is filtered these days. Nothing is like the fact is, have they ever told you to? To play this or to say this, there's no. You can actually. That's what we're talking about. Unpolitically correct, and I was saying, change your show to unpolitically correct.
We have to now, man.
Because I was listening to it last week, before I came on, going, "What are these guys about?" And I was going, "It's unpolitically correct, right? It's good." But
totally.
But I just think like when people are giving you a platform to just be who you want to be, that's kind of like what creation was in the 90s, in the 80s. We should let artists be whoever they wanted to be. Sometimes it was rubbish, but sometimes it was brilliant.
I did hear you talking about this, that you give them sort of the creative freedom to be whoever they wanted to be. Yeah. And if they wanted to crash the car, it didn't mean they could carry on. But that's fucking brilliant. It's almost, because that's when I think of you, Alan, I think of people like Tony Wilson. And people like Malcolm McLaren. And Malcolm was a friend of yours, wasn't he?
Yeah, good friend. Yeah,
did you ever pick up any sort of wise words from Malcolm?
Yeah, I was ripping him off my entire life, man. When I managed to marry Shane back in the 80s, I actually thought I was Malcolm McLaren. Do you know what I mean? I was like a fucking pound shot Malcolm, really, to be honest, back in the day. You know what I mean? But then I became myself, as everybody does. Do you know what I mean? But getting in the 90s, I was me. Do you know what I mean? But in the beginning, I just thought I was Malcolm. And I love Tony as well. But I wasn't ripping Tony off. I was ripping Malcolm off. But with Tony, we
it must be hard to rip Tony off.
Yeah. Well, we stole a lot of his ideas, which is like the 50-50 profit split on the records. You know what that means? Yeah, you get like you pay all the costs, and then the artist gets 50%, and the record company gets 50%. It's the fairest deal in the music business. Do you know what I mean?
Is it reckless? Is that a reckless deal for you?
Well, we made a lot of money playing the game deal. Do you know what I mean? Sony, when we signed to Sony in '92, and we put out a Sugar album, and we sold 400,000 of it, and we made a lot of money off that album, and I couldn't understand it. And then the accountant broke it down and went, "You're getting," because we changed it to the Sony deal. We had no choice, because Sony hated the 50-50 record deal, and with the Sony deal that we had made Bob Mould sign to, we got paid £4 and he got paid £1, and suddenly we had like a fucking like 400,000 times £4. We had a lot of money in the bank.
Excellent.
But it was deep down, because I'd never, up from 83 to 92 when we signed that deal, it was always 50-50 deals. And PrimalScream to this day, on these old creation records, still get 50% of the money, because they
still stand.
Yeah, they still get. Sony have to pay.
Man, the effigy is still burning. Yeah, that's fucking cool,
they
man.
Still and the Valentines, because both these records still sell a lot of records.
Yeah,
and they get paid 50% of the money.
What about like Oasis and stuff like that?
No, that they were points deals. Do you know what I mean? But Noel always said that if he'd actually got like the 50-50 record deal, you know, before Sony had changed it, it'd have been, you know, I mean, like, I don't know how much money they made. They made a lot, you know what I mean, you know.
I don't know what to say to that. It's just, it's fucking amazing.
I've never told anyone to do that. That's a good question,
It's
to be fair.
yeah.
Nobody knows that PrimalScream to this day are still on 50%. Because
Fuck,
that deal's in perpetuity. Do you know what I mean?
Is anyone on that? You know,
Not in new deals. Well,
No.
on my little new label, Creation 23, yeah, the bands are getting 50%, but it's only 500 limited edition singles. But because that deal stood for PrimalScream in the first 9 years when they signed to Sony, they, you know, that's in perpetuity that they get 50% of the records, which is a great deal for them. Do you know what I mean?
Alan, sign me and Stu, man. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. But
what band were you two in anyway?
This comes up.
Well,
we was going to drop this in a
we
little
were
bit
going to surprise you later and just.
Well, you should play some music.
Yeah, man.
Okay, we'll do that later. Let's see what Alan's got to say about that. I mean, I'm dying to know. But you've brought in a guest pick playlist.
Yeah.
Like all our guests, but especially for you to bring in a guest pick playlist of your careers.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But you're going to be curating a lot of this throughout the
no,
show.
Just play whatever you think now to tell you different things about the bands.
Well, to start off this weary Sunday, I think there's only one song to play from your playlist that I think will kick the show off all right, man.
It's got to be done, man. Go for it.
And you've been wrong.
And welcome back to the Glass Onion Show down at the Boogaloo in Highgate. If you've just tuned in, shame on you, man. You know you started to. Every week now. We've been doing this for over a year. Last week was our year anniversary show, but it didn't broadcast. So we sort of like had a lot of fun, didn't we, Stu? In our matching outfits for some reason.
Yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's...
So this morning I phoned you up. It's like, I'm wearing a roll neck. What are you wearing?
Yeah. White roll neck as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, why not?
Very Mulligan O'Hare.
Piss off, man. You own a fucking white roll neck.
Like two tiny butter beans. But that was Guided by Voices, Teenage FBI. Before that, we had Celeste by the Telescopes and Rocks by PrimalScream. And this is all from Alan McGee's guest pick playlist. And we have Alan here in the studio.
Hey.
Oh, come on. Come on. I know it's a bit dreary out there.
No, I'm good, actually. Having my cup of tea. It's cool. But, yeah, I was... That Teenage FBI, I did Mike Smith's show, and he was going on about that record. He used to drink with the singer Bob Pollard. And how I ended up signing them was everybody in my office around the late 90s was obsessed by Guided by Voices, and we put it out. But the year it came out, which was early 99, I closed the company because I'd got fed up with the Sony politics. And I think they were signed to TVT, and the owner of TVT at the time, I think, was thinking of fucking suing me for like for not making them pop stars. So it was a fucking like I only found that out about 10 years later. Do you know what I mean? That he very nearly because it would put the record out and then would close the company 6 months later. Do you know what I mean? You know that he knew he was going to sue me. You know.
What? Because you didn't make them pop stars? No,
because we didn't. You know, I don't know what he was going to say as for. Do you know what I mean? But it's like just people in the music business are fucking nuts, basically.
Yeah, they are fucking nuts, man. I mean, that's the greatest thing, but I think that's what makes industry kind of great, because the rest of it can be quite fucking naughty.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously you'd know that personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like everything. I mean, I was at the Gorillaz gig last night, you know, because I had Sean Ryder playing with Gorillaz doing Dare, and I was speaking to the Gorillaz agent, the guy I've known forever, a guy called Ian Huffman, and we were talking about it. We were talking about like the music business and politics and stuff, and he just went, I mean, it's crazy, but politics and like the nation with Brexit, etc., right, and Trump is actually crazier than the music business at the moment. The music business is actually vaguely normal.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're fucking right, man. Do you ever feel the need that it needs shaking up the music industry? Because I
think it's totally shaken up because it's changed away from like maybe 10 years ago. It really dramatically did change, and I think it was a lot to do with the internet eventually. But it's meant to the streaming system and stuff like that, and that's now starting to be effective and stuff. But I think it went through a lot. It through a really dreary patch, the music business, and before it's now started to pick up, and new bands have got a chance again on Spotify. Actually, do you know what I mean? You know, like if you can get on the playlist, I think it's going to be good.
So what's your thoughts on Spotify? Because a lot of musicians are making
I like
it up
actually.
evil.
To be honest, I mean, I do my show actually with using Spotify.
Same here.
Yeah. And I actually like Spotify. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit spoken about you don't get paid. I mean, for anybody, it actually gives a shit about these kind of things. Maybe only people in bands will, but you kind of get paid for 1 million streams. You get paid $2,000 for the publishing, and you paid $2,000 for the record rights. So you're effectively, for 1 million streams, you get paid about $4,000, and that's. I mean, it moves around a little bit because some people are on premium plans, I think it's called, which is family plans and stuff like that. But essentially, roughly speaking, it's about $4,000 for 1 million plays. So if you do smash it and have an indie hit, you know what I mean, and I'm talking in old speak, 10, 15 million streams, have a big song, that's pretty good money, actually. You know, 15 times 4,000 is about $60,000 for a song. So it's kind of okay. If you can make it work for you, it's good. I think the biggest thing now about music is there's so many bands now.
Yeah.
You know, clogging it. So it's very difficult to get aired if you're a little band.
That's one thing I love about Spotify is I've discovered a lot of bands.
Oh, brilliant. I agree.
You listen to one band, it's like, you might like this.
I've went the other way. I've like rediscovered my love of glam and punk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, which is great. But I mean, I think I was going that way anyway. But it's really easy to access that.
You just got to type it in rather than like, you know, sieving for a dusty record collection or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I think the importance of it is people are actually still listening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's that, you weigh it up. You know, if I make loads of money or just make loads of fans. Like, people are listening to what I do and they respect me for what I do rather than money.
But you know what? A lot of the people that are having big success now, I'm friends with the manager. There's like this little kid, Lewis Capaldi, out of Scotland, and he's smashing it with streaming. He's looking new. Like, I mean, it's not kind of music that I would like or you guys would like, you know, but it's kind of poppy, kind of like, you know, it's alternative pop, if you want to call it, you know, but it's pretty tame. But that kid's managed it. The managers, I think it's the manager more than anything. The manager's been able to work the Spotify model, you know, to his benefit, and it's like, I think it's one of the main songs is at 71 million. So when you hit these kind of numbers, that kid hasn't even got his album out yet, and he's gone out. And like he's got like European tours, and he's at Shepherd's Bush Empire. It's sold out. Blah blah blah. I mean, and that's all really off the backing of Spotify. So I think Spotify is good for new bands. You know.
Well, you heard it here, man, from Alan McGee. Just stop taking the piss out of Spotify, because I mean, I like it.
But the people that take the piss out of it don't really. If you said to them, I'm probably one of the few people that's ever actually named how much you make off a million streams, and it's not that hard information to find, because people that slag it, they're probably not even on it. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've had a few people on that say it, you know.
Do you know what the old model was really great for? Was like, say you were in a band, and you know you never made it, but say somebody like me liked it, and I would sign you and maybe give you 60 grand to come and, like, you know, make a record for me, right? In the old days, I'm talking about in the 90s sort of vibe, right? And then the publisher would sign you because you've got a record deal with me, blah blah blah. So you might give you 100 grand. You could still not make it, but have 2 or 3 years being in a band, put a record out, get your 160,000 in, and you know, exist in the music business for a few years. That doesn't work like that anymore, you know what I mean? Because they're getting you to fund your own career in a lot of ways. But if you do, you know, if you do click, then, you know, the money does flow in for you. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah. I mean, what does? Because obviously you've got the new label now.
Yeah. But I mean, I saw Spotify. I saw the head of the playlist the other day on Wednesday. I went to see him. Do you know what I mean? You know, and. Yeah, I mean, it's all about it's always just, it's the same game. It's just that the play becomes slightly different. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, you still find out who's the main man, and you go and see him, and then he's either going to think you're a bit of a dick or not. I think the guy thought it was okay, so we're going to be okay. You know what I mean? You know.
Are you excited about the new label?
Yeah, I am, man, because it's like it's not funded by anybody other than me and my friend. You know what I mean? And see, when you've got that freedom, it's fucking amazing. It's a bit like you two doing this show. You know, you've really got the freedom, and when you've got the freedom, sometimes you think, oh, like, if only we were funded by the BBC or XFM or whatever, or Radio X. whatever, or like with me, it'd be great if Universal gave us a couple $100,000 to go and do the label. But it's not. It's because you've got that total freedom to move in a sixpence. Last Saturday, I was at home seeing my missus and seeing my daughter, and I got a phone call with this, with one of my friends, and he is kind of like mentoring these little kids. They're about 21. And he played me something, and it kind of sounded like Radio Clash, but which isn't a bad thing, right? And I went, oh, it's pretty good, blah, blah, blah. And he went, I've got another tune for you. And he played me, and it's absolute killer, punk funk thing. And I went, are they around today? Because the kid lives on the other side of the hill in Wales to me, right? And then the other little kids, 3 kids live in the valleys. And I said, that would be great. I'd love to see them. And he went, they're at a festival. And I think what happened is they were travelling to the festival, heard that I was interested, travelled back, got the gear out, 4 o'clock, like, come and see us, 4:30. I was there, signed by 5 o'clock. So, wow. And you can do that when you're indie. But if I was like part of a corporate thing, then you can't do that. Do you know what I mean? Because, it's a bit like, you've got to go, well, I'm going to have to ask this person if we can fund it and all that bollocks. So, but when it's your own thing.
Is it all past colleagues as well that are helping you out on this?
No, it's just anybody. It could be you guys going, listen to my pal's band. It's just people that you go, all right, okay. As long as you can leave everything open, if you know somebody, then, you can't, it's all by recommendation, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
You never find anything cold call, because we've got like an email address on like you can send my son, a demo. I can tell you now, we're never going to find a band through a band sending a fucking demo. As a link, it's horrible to say it.
There's some kid at home right now just
I know, and there's probably,
writing a card on his demo saying,
you're completely correct, and there's probably 5,000 in some mailbox now waiting to be listened to. But
one of them was probably ours.
Yeah, the real truth is the only way you do find things is you guys go, actually, our mate is an amazing band, McGee.
Yeah.
Listen to it. They've got a gig next Tuesday, and you go, I'm coming to the gig. And almost everything I've ever found has been by recommendation, or a few like the Oasis thing. It's an absolute stumble.
Oasis.
Well, Oasis,
they wasn't supposed to be there. You was apparently chasing some skirt.
What it was that was even more perverse, right? Because it was like I was kicking about with this girl from about 89. It was like the Mondays and New Order were at the Hacienda, and I went to the Hacienda and kind of like hung out with her, and then we became great friends. And 3 or 4 years later, she was playing her first ever gig at King Tut's Wawa Hut, and I thought, because I'd been hanging with her for 3 or 4 years, I thought, I'm going to go and freak her out, but she'll probably quite like the fact I went, and she'd brought the band at rehearse in her little studio, so I never knew that they were playing, but I showed up and they were there. But you know what? I remember talking about Sugar. They played a gig at the Boardwalk, and Sister Lovers, Debbie's band and Oasis had the same rehearsal space. Yeah. And then she said, "Come on downstairs, and I want to smoke a joint." So I went down, and she sat in the Oasis drum stool and was smoking a joint, right? And behind it was this whole fucking toilet thing that they had painted on the wall. The Union Jack going down the toilet.
Yeah.
And I said to Debbie, who's like a naughty girl, right? And I went, "Are they fascists?" And she went, "Yeah." So it was in my head. I had spotted them. I was like, "Are they fascists?" But yeah.
Your paths were going to cross, man.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
So was it Bring It On Down that turned you on, wasn't it? The fucking...
No, it was actually the first song you played. It was Columbia. No, but when I saw the gig, though, I hadn't heard Columbia at that point. I think they started with Columbia, actually. They did Columbia, they did Bring It On Down, they did Up in the Sky, and they did Helter Skelter. That's what they did. But when I heard the demo, that night, Noel gave me the demo. And then I was playing it, I think, the next weekend or whatever, right? And it was Columbia got me into it. Do you know what I mean? But it reminded me of the Mondays. Do you know what I mean? That was one of the reasons I was into it.
That's why I played it earlier on in the show. I mean, it's
but
such
you
a big
didn't know
show.
that was the track that got me into it.
No, I played it because it's what they come out to at Nebworth. And I think, fuck, it's such a massive thing. But that's such an important song. Yeah, I love that song. The record's incredible, but the story, I mean, what did you think of Supersonic?
I'm DJing for Liam next week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
In Manchester.
Fuck, man.
His after show.
Didn't you move to Manchester briefly?
I did in '89, man. It's like I met Debbie, and she took me around to this guy's, who will have to remain nameless, to buy some E's, and he opened this massive fridge. And he opened the door, and there was about 1,000 E's in the fridge. And I went, "Fuck it, I'm moving."
That's what I heard you in an interview say something like, why do you move to Manchester? It's
Tony
like,
Wilson. Yeah, that's the best fucking line I've ever heard on TV. I think.
Better drugs out there, I said.
Yeah, better class of drugs, Tony. You fucking. No, but I had that dude.
But I'll be honest with you, right? It wasn't off the cuff. I knew I was going to fucking drop it, right? I had that one line in that interview, so it was delivered with a lot of like boom, But he got really, I think he it really ruffled him, that interview, because we were such great friends, and I think he thought that I was going to go on and be nice, which I kind of most of the time am, right? But that one, I just went on and was a bit of a cunt, basically.
It was almost like the Bill Grundy thing, you know what I mean? Just think, fucking hell, Steve Jones and Bill Grundy thing.
Yeah, no, I know.
I love that.
I slightly took advantage of Tony that one time, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably did it around that sort of time.
Yeah, I love Tony Wilson. Tony Wilson was absolutely amazing guy. Gave me a lot of breaks, man. It was like, because I was a bit younger than him, I was about 10 years younger than him, and when about 87, I was really down in my luck. My wife had left me, first wife had left me, Mary Chain had sacked me. I was just fucked, man, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Tony Wilson was just saying to me, "You've got to hang on to your bands. You know, that's the only way you get bigger." Do you know what I mean? That's what I did when you order. You've got to just hang on to them. And then we sort of did, really, from that point in, you know what I mean? You know, where we lost, maybe lost HouseofLove. That was the only other band we lost to a major. Do you know what I mean? But I was the manager, so, you know, we you know, so it kind of like, you know, effectively I didn't really lose it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should we play a bit of HouseofLove?
Yeah, but do you like them?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Fucking quality band, man.
Yeah, let's just chuck on the HouseofLove from your guest pick playlist.
Yeah.
This is Christine. Welcome back to the Glass Onion Radio Show down at the Boogaloo in Highgate. Join the unholy ceremony at the Church of Glass Onion. We are here with Alan McGee from Creation Records and Poptones Records.
Yeah.
And you're right there.
Why are you staring at me like in such a fucking weird manner?
No,
I'm going to check your facts. Yeah, that is Alan
Well,
McGee
if you've just tuned in, shame on you. I always say that, you know, we start at 2, but if you've just tuned in, you missed the whole first hour, then you know you can get over to boogalooradio.com/glassonion. You'll see the widget there, and it will be up all week.
But that's not the only way you can catch up, because today is the start of GlassOnionTV.
Ooh. So that's going on YouTube and Instagram TV, I think. We've got Luke Baker here, the illustrious Luke Baker. So
if our voices make you feel sick, then try having a look at us and all.
Yeah, look at Luke, man. He'll just turn you on. He's so fucking sly, man. So sly.
He could be a lawyer, couldn't he?
Also, I was actually just going to prepare myself not to do the Instagram live today, but we're actually live on the Instagram, so you can go over to the Glass Onion Show, the widget in the corner, the little glowing red icon, click on that and come behind the veil and up at the altar with the priest of chaos himself, Alan McGee, telling us some stories from his whole career and life, man. So it did start out over in Glasgow for you?
Yeah, no, I had no intention of ever coming to London, and I left school. I mean, I effectively left school when I was about 14, but I mean, I officially left school when I was 16, and I had a job in a building site and all that sort of stuff. I had loads of rubbish jobs, but I was in this band with Andrew for the Primals, and we were called. At one point, we were called H2O. Then they went on and had hits, but me and Andrew left it, and then we started our own little band called the Laughing Apple. And then Andrew said to me, "If you don't come to London, McGee, you know, I'm going to leave you behind in Glasgow and you're out the band." So then I got forced to move to London, and I had no idea about moving to London. But when the minute I got here, we were going to some gigs at the Nashville, an old venue at the time in the 70s, the 80s. It became in 1980. I was 19, and but after about a month, I realised this is amazing. London is amazing.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I just got into it, and then me and Andrew put 2 or 3 singles out, and that was putting out our own singles showed me how to do. It was a little 7 inches and stuff like that, 7-inch label, but it taught me how to, you know, master records, produce records, press records up, get the sleeves. The sleeves were designed by Bobby Gillespie and shipped down to me. And I'd be folding them and putting them in plastic bags, and it was total DIY how we started it all.
Punk ethos.
Yeah. Well, it was like, because we had no money to really do it, And we were funded by a little club that we were doing, and we'd get a couple of hundred people a week into that. But they were paying for the club was paying for the way of putting out the records. And we got lucky. I signed the Mary Chain, put out Upside Down, and it exploded. And then about like a month later, we were in the top 75. We sold about 40,000-50,000 7-inch singles, and then suddenly, I literally was like, oh, like this is going to work. Do you know what I mean? So chucked my job at the time and just did music.
Was that hard for you to take that leap of faith? Or was you just kind of careless, like this is what I want to do?
It was careless to a certain extent, but I was worried that it wouldn't work, but it worked.
You work
just a bit, man. Fuck me. So you made millions over the years.
Yeah, I did good, man. You know what I mean?
Did you invest it, Alan?
Yeah, I had to lose it, man, because I got sober in '94, and the real money hit during Britpop, so I just invested it all. So I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Good, man. I didn't want to probe too much, but
yeah, no, I'm okay. I mean, a lot of people for that time have lost their money because they were still drinking and taking drugs, so it was just a party. So they've spunked it, but no, I never spunked it.
Did the change in the music industry with downloads affect you at all?
Yeah, it's changed the way that it made it it's made it more exciting in some ways for me, because I had to learn a new music business. Do you know what I mean? Because it was the same for a long time. Do you know what I mean? And I think if anything, when I went off to bring up my daughter in Wales in 2008, and then I came back in 2013, started doing bits and pieces, into music. But I think I was jaded when I done that the first time. Do you know what I mean?
It's a strange thing, because obviously you've seen the music industry change so much over the few decades that you've been doing it.
Yeah.
And then you've just started another label.
Yeah, because I just like music, and I like the new band thing, because a lot of the bands I manage are all like people 30s, 40s, 50s and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But it's good signing kids. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
So it's gone.
I thought you see that boom there. I actually thought, I was like, am I hearing that? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was like...
Trouble is, I've got my headphones on. I didn't realise it's still coming out the monitors in the studio, I'm guessing.
Yes.
There's like a weird echo effect. I thought, I'm pissing about
with
the dials.
Bell chamber
going on here?
We're in a bell chamber.
We're just tricking them with...
So we've gone sort of full circle, because the new record label is vinyl.
Yeah.
So is that a different thing? You've just gone back to...
Well, the only reason I've done it is because it's pretty selfish on a lot of levels. It's like... It's like you've only got to find bands, that are like, they've got one or two songs and you can still put it out. Do you know what I mean? And you're not thinking, the quality of music out there at the moment is weirdly good. I didn't know. I mean, the first three things I've got are all good, but I didn't know that it was going to be this ripe for new groups. So I'm loving doing new bands again.
It's always the right place, right time for Alan McGee.
No, it's been a lot of times it's been the wrong place as well. I mean, the thing is, the music business is a bit weird, right? Because you get remembered for your successes. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I've had some really big ones, but you like everybody, I've had things that I've got wrong as well. Do you know what I mean? But luckily, not too many people really do care or want to remember it.
Well, that's the thing. It's the thing. You don't remember the crap bands, do you? You're always going to remember the good ones. So
because it might have been one of them crap bands.
No, but to keep it in, my success rate's pretty good, I think. But out of say 120, 130 bands that get signed to Creation, and we put out records, singles, or albums, you'd probably work it out that it's probably only about 10, maybe 15 had hits and were successful. So that's only about 10%. So that gives you a really... I'm considered to be, a successful person signing bands. And so you're saying that 10% of what you sign goes on
that's
to become
probably
big.
a lot more than some very big
No,
record
it
companies.
is, man. I mean, some people don't ever sign a hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you've had 10 or 15 bands that have went and had hits and stuff, that's probably quite good,
So you had 365 records?
I had Poptones, and I've still actually got Poptones. I still own it. And it had lots of different ups and downs in Poptones, and then I did a little thing with Cherry Red, but they weren't taking the records to radio.
Is that where you signed Tess Parks?
Yeah.
We had Tess on.
Yeah, she's great.
Absolutely love Tess.
Yeah.
I love what she's doing. I love.
Well, she's got the bite. I mean, she's at a weird juncture now that, she's got the bite of a big I won't say who it is, but a big producer, songwriter wants to sign her in LA. And, you know, she's at that point in her life that it's a bit like, do you just carry on being indie or do you go for the big thing? And I don't know what she's going to do. Do you know what I mean? You know, hopefully she goes, let's sign to a big company. And you don't need to change the band, or you don't need to change how you produce the records. But maybe just go for the bigger distribution system. Do you know what I mean?
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know who signed, because that kind of puts it at a weird thing with. Do you remember Candy Payne?
I know the name. I don't know how I know.
Yeah, she just had one record out.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing
record,
and then just it stopped.
Yeah.
Stopped. I swear that she had the Stairs as the sort of backing band.
Oh, right, okay.
And I think it was a sister of like Howie Payne, and
right.
But she was fucking. It reminded me a bit of Tess Parks. That sort of 65.
Yeah. The Tess Parks is amazing. I mean, you know,
she is.
You know how she ran into me at a film, and I was doing this little cameo in this film Svengali, and
that's right.
And she showed up, and she was about a really small kid. Gave me a CD at the time, and then we kept in contact, and then I don't know, I'll put your record out, and then she fucking made a good record.
Oh, so you went back and listened to it, and you was like,
yeah, no, I thought it was good. It was like Mazzy Star at that point.
Yeah,
and
listening to Mazzy Star last night. Actually.
Yeah, great, and you know, and then you know, she went back to Canada. She came to see me actually, and she was like, oh, you know, I'm practically homeless and like, no money and blah blah blah. And I was just kind of being a dad figure to her. And I just went, I said, like, just go home to your mum. And she went, no. And I went, no, that's what you do. And when you've run out of luck, go home to your parents, you know. And she did. And then she came back. And then I got in touch with her, and she'd kind of got better, and like, as in, like, you know, she'd got herself together. And then I said, oh, I'm going to do this new label and put her album out. And then Anton got involved with her. And then she's done really good. And she's at that point, and she's still a young woman. She's only 27. It's a bit like, you know, she's got somebody pretty major that wants to sign her. It's a bit like, I mean, if I was her, I would go for the big deal and to see what it's like to be in the mainstream trying to punch. Do you know what I mean?
You can always go back to being in.
Yeah, you can. You know what I mean? You know, I think having her on a major label would be kind of interesting. Do you know what I mean? You know,
it might change things. You never know. I mean, because she was involved with the Libertines.
Well, I was. Yeah.
And the Hives.
Yeah. And that was all that early. That was a great period for music, actually.
It was, yeah.
Because now you can see it now and go, you know, it started. Who started it? Really? Probably the Strokes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So BRMC come out in sort of 2000, sort of shook it up for me.
Strokes, BRMC, White Stripes, Hives, and then Killers. I mean, it was a great time for new rock bands. That was the last breakthrough of rock and roll, really, to be honest.
It's quite a genius stroke for what you did with the Hives, with the album.
Oh yeah, putting the two records together.
Yeah. Fucking genius, man. Because that's how I discovered them.
Yeah.
And then someone told me, oh, it's both the albums.
Yeah. I just took the best songs because I listened. Well, how I found the Hives was I was on a promo tour in Germany about halfway through 2000, I think, because I started Poptones, and I was like being sober. I was like lying on top of my bed in Germany in some weird little mad town for some reason. I just get stuck in it, and I put on Viva, and it was like Viva 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I Hate to Say I Told You So came on, and that was it, man. I was like, oh, we should do this. And then I listened to both the records, Vinny Vidi Vicious, I think it was, and Barely Legal. And it was only about half the songs each of the, you know, there's only about half an album on each of the albums. And I thought, well, if I put them together, I might have a decent album.
Then you've got a full-on fucking banging album.
Yeah. Your new favourite band?
Yeah, but there were two. But what it was the first and second album, and all I did was choose the best songs, put them together, and I released Hate to Say I Told You So, and it fucking exploded. It did about, I think it did it in Britain, it did 420,000. It was a lot.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, it set them up because then it got released in America, and then it became a hit in America as well.
Is that when they brought out the music video for Hate to Say I Told You So?
Yeah. But that was already around because Veni Vidi Vicious, I think it's called, the second album had come out, and then when I spotted them, it'd been out 6 months and it sold 600 copies worldwide. So it was going nowhere. And then I went, well, I'll put the albums together. Did it, and then it exploded. Do you know what I mean?
This is what I was saying. It's like a Midas touch. Yeah, if McGee gives you a bone, take it. So this won't be called Glass Onion anymore. It's be called, was it unpolitically correct?
Unpolitically correct. Do you know why? If you do change it, you should use it in something that you do. But if you called your band unpolitically correct, it'd be probably pretty good. But people are like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? That because it's kind of like you would get a big audience for that, calling it unpolitically correct.
I think you might be right. Yeah. Should we try it?
What do you think of the name Penny Royal? Go on.
It sounds like Penny Royalty.
He's got it straight away. We got stuck for a fucking name, and then we looked at the back.
Do you know
what?
Call your band unpolitically correct. It's like you know.
You're gonna have to. Like, I can't argue with you because you know what you're talking.
Well, I don't. It's probably a better radio show name, but unpolitically correct is like you know, the unpolitically correct is a better name for it. Call it the unpolitically correct. That's a great name for a band.
We just call it the shit cunts.
But you know, the unpolitically correct is like, you know, I think it's a better radio show name though. If I was being honest,
radio show.
Yeah. Or like maybe a curated night. Or like if you
that what you're saying. There may be that in the pipeline.
Maybe do that and call that the unpolitically correct because it's probably a good club night if you know what I'm saying. You know
yeah, mate. Yeah,
a bit like the word.
Yeah, because I think now we're in times of like nobody does say anything. That's what there was the actually refreshing thing listening to your show last week, and I was like, oh, they just don't actually give a fuck. That's kind of interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Was that the No Front Teeth Records show, the residency one?
Yeah, it was. You had a punk guy on talking.
That's he's our residency guy, Marco.
He had some good records. He was playing some good tunes.
His record label is brilliant, and he does sort of.
And I listened to Parkinson's guy when you had him on.
Alfonso,
that was good.
Genius guy, really gentlemanly. I mean,
and then you know, you sent me that Parkinson's documentary, and I remember them. They used to come to Death Disco. Oh, yes, was you would have been. Well, I don't know what age you guys would have been in 2000. Very young, I think. You know what
14?
I mean? 14. Right, you wouldn't come to Death Disco at that point. But they used to come to Death Disco, these kids, and Alfonso and stuff like that, and they looked amazing. And I think they had played the Arts Club and got banned, and I think all you'd see is they'd somehow sneak into my night, and then the bouncers were fucking carrying them out and fucking throwing them out.
Sounds like Alfonso, man.
Yeah,
you got to love him for it. But he was a gentleman. Everyone that comes in here is very gentlemanly.
Yeah,
I love that.
I thought, to be fair, I thought the documentary was very good because whoever made that documentary absolutely got the rock and roll thing, because rock and roll's not always about ending up at Nebworth. It's not like that. It's like sometimes rock and roll's about ending up at your mum's. Do you know what I mean? You know, but the story from like, you know, getting from like, you know, like trying to make it, getting somewhere and ending up at your mum's is fucking pretty interesting.
Well, that's how it happened to me and him.
Luke, we got sat in the corner. He's doing a GlassOnionTV. He done a documentary on us, and we know full well what you're talking about. It's,
we wanted it to end up on Jules Holland.
I mean, because it's not always like, oh, you know, rags to riches. It's not always it's not always like, oh, and they've got to end up at Nebworth. You know, I mean, that's Supersonic, that's Oasis. It's cool, but it's like, but sometimes it's better. There's my kid turned me onto it. There's Bobby something or other, right? And he's in a metal band, Pentagram. Have you ever seen the Pentagram documentary?
No.
It's amazing. He's about a 60-year-old smackhead, right? that is in this band. He's absolutely like amazing metal band. They should have made it, but all the bands that are into them, like Kiss and bands like that, and then later on Metallica, they all go on and become absolutely huge. They start in the late 60s, around the time and then by the time this is shot, which is about 10 years ago, he's now about 60. He's a smackhead. Bobby Leipowitz or something, whatever he's called, right? And he's living in his mum's basement in Cleveland or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's a very, it's real, because rock and roll's not always about. It's not always about winning and being shiny.
It can't always be glamorous.
No, it's not. It's like sometimes it's just rock and roll the other end of the stick. Do you know what I mean? You know. Although I mean, we all want the Nebworth ending. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, no, of course, mate. Of course, it's good to get paid for being an arsehole, but
right. Well, let's jump into your next part of your guest pick playlist, and we've got the super furry animals. Do you want to say anything about something for the weekend?
I saw Griff last night, actually. Weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got up with gorillas as well.
I know. I heard you having a little chat at the bar about something that's coming up. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's some gig coming up, but
what was that again?
You can't spring it on him like that, Stu. You can't do that to people.
I just walked in, you was having a chat. It's like,
no, I'm going to do... No, that was a...
Eavesdropping on fucking...
No, that was a totally other thing. That was like, I wanted to do a rough trade records launch and put on the new band. I've got Rubber Joe, and then I'll get interviewed by Brick Smith. We do it at Rough Trade when the record comes out in October, you know. No, I saw Griff last night, actually, you know.
Where the fucking hell was you? You bumped into Banksy last night, you was with Damon Albarn last night, Sean Ryder last night, Griff.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just there with Sean, so that's how I ran into every day, you know. Yeah.
Mad.
It's just... It was one of them. It was a good night.
Most people don't know who Banksy is, Alan. Do you know what I mean? You're going, I was with Banksy last night. Just Scarlet Pimpernel. Oh, cool, man. Like, fuck me. Definitely a special guy, man. Definitely.
I just know a few people.
A few people. Fucking know everybody. Even people that don't exist. Like Shadow, like a mystery man. But anyway, it's just Super Furry Animals. And welcome back to the Glass Onion Radio Show down at the Boogaloo in Highgate. If you've just tuned in, then you know.
If you just tuned in, fucking shame on you. Where have you been? What have you been doing, you lazy bastard?
Right, that was Boo Radley's Lazarus. I like that because it does sort of have a very Brian Jonestown sort of vibe to it. It's kind of...
Well, it starts off like Guns of Brixton, doesn't it?
Yeah, a bit. I can see that, yeah. So you had the Boo Radleys, didn't you?
Yeah, well, what happened was they were on Rough Trade, and then I signed them. They were in a kind of down period, and I signed it, and then I put out... They had already an album that I bought off Rough Trade. I put it out, and then the next album I made was the good album, which was Giant Steps. I think I put out 4, and then the next album I put out went in at number 1, and it was the big pop hit. Wake Up, It's a Beautiful Morning. Wake Up, Boo. Yeah. Fucking rubbish, but there you go. And then
I'll tell you what, I didn't mind that track. I didn't mind it. It was all right.
And then
it's sold though, didn't it?
And then the one after that, they'd called Come On Kids, and that was a self-sabotage album.
Kind of reminds me of something.
But you know, what it proved to me anyway, doing the Boo Radleys, every fucker's got a good song, man.
If you call this song "Come On Kids," it could be read in the wrong way, couldn't it? So.
No, but it was back in. I hear you, but it was back in about.
Sorry.
It was back in 96, 97, and it's like, you know, it was a lot more innocent times back then, you know.
Yeah. The BBC hadn't been pulled apart by then. No, the entertainment, Anyway, don't you start. It's mostly radio DJs that are fucking like that.
Yeah, I know.
You got a fucking Rollneck for it, and look.
What are you talking about, man? You had a Rollneck last week, you
and
prick.
The Fringe, look. Waver.
Oh, fuck off.
No, what you're saying?
Wearing a kid's suit.
Yeah, I know, man. Mr. Super. And I am. But anyway, he's talking about that. It kind of reminds me of something that Michael Caine said. He made a really fucking shit film, and he was like, no, I haven't seen it, but I've seen the house that he built, and it's magnificent. And I think, fucking rock and roll, man. Do you know what I mean? You can just do things for the money, and that's cool, man.
No, it wasn't even that. I think we done the Boo Radleys. It was more like a kind of like... I don't know, why did we really do it? It was just... I saw something in them and I thought maybe they've got a good record in them, we'll do it. And they did have a good record in them.
I didn't mind the record.
Giant Steps was a great record.
I mean, I didn't mind it.
Yeah, but that was, you know, that song's amazing. But that whole album's a good album.
Is there a band that you wish you'd signed?
Yeah, there's loads of bands that I wish I'd signed, you know. But the most obvious one's Stone Roses.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, is there any bands that you maybe had the chance to sign? You'd heard one of their tapes or something, and then they got snapped
there's
up?
Been loads. I mean, like, you know, Foo Fighters about...
Yeah.
And this is a good story. I don't think I've ever told it. And,
come on. Yeah.
97, 98, I was at Chelsea Crystal Palace with the Foo Fighters agent, Russell Warby, and I was sitting, and they'd put out the first couple of albums, and it'd been, the first one had been successful, the second one wasn't that successful, and Russell went, look, Dave loves you, he really wants to be in creation, why don't you just do the Foo Fighters? And I said, I'll think about it, and then I got back to him and went, no, not for creation. And I should have done it. Because, you know, at one point, 10 years later, they're the biggest band in the world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're probably the biggest rock band in the world at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. So it's like, you know, I should have done that. But there's loads of different things
that
like
happens
that,
through fucking history. Like, the amount of people that turn the Beatles down, it's like, sorry, fucking, you know, guitar music's on its way out. And Oasis, I know they'd put their demo around a few other record labels and just like...
Well, with Oasis, it's like, you know, I'm good friends with the girl that runs a Universal Publishing, a girl called Caroline Ellery, and she told me about her recently. It's an amazing story. It's never Never. I mean, you know, I've told it a few times on Boogaloo, but you know, it's never really got into the journalist ears or anything like that. But she was up in Manchester working at Strawberry Studios, and she did a showcase. I didn't know this till about 3-4 months ago. She did a showcase way before I got involved with Oasis. Yeah. Must have been about a year before, and she brought up a load of London A&R guys. Jonathan Dickens, Adele's manager, was in the record business at that time. He came up past James Dewar, head of Sony Publishing. He passed. They all passed. Do you know what I mean? So Oasis, you know, this whole thing about Oasis, you know, weren't shunted round the majors. They obviously were, and I never knew that until Caroline told me. I was like, really? Right, okay.
So you showed them what for then?
Well, all I did was I got them at the right time, because it might have been, and I suspect it's probably the truth, the year before they weren't probably ready, and I showed up on the right night, and they'd got the sound together, and it was obvious what they were. And sometimes, you know, that's all it needs to be. You know what I mean? If the band are ready and, you know, you can hear the PA's okay and you can hear the songs, you end up going, oh, this is great, I'll do it.
We was talking at the bar earlier when we first met, and we spoke about the committee that you was on that changed.
Oh yeah.
That changed the face of.
What is it? New
changed
deal
the law.
Well, no, it was the Music Industry Task Force and the Creative Industry Task Force. I ended up on them, and I got through that bill, New Deal for Musicians, and I was telling you about that. You know how
that's insane. Just explain the deal, like what you was fighting for.
What it was that you could be a musician. As long as you could prove you were in a band or trying to work on your own music, you could get 3 years of benefits. So a load of, or maybe even 4 years, but I think it was definitely 3 years. And it got a load of musicians not having to sign on to do shit jobs. And they got benefits for 3 or 4 years. And
whose idea was this?
Well, that was mine, but I was ripping it off an old scheme, which was what was that? What was that Tory scheme that I was on? In the 80s, yeah, enterprise allowance scheme, yeah. That's what I was. So I was really ripping that off. Do you know what I mean? You know, and but anyway, it got passed by the Labour government.
Do you think when this law came out, you got a lot of lazy bastards just like suddenly picked up a kazoo and thought, "Okay, I'm going to get a little bit extra."
But that obviously happened, and that's the government were really. I think that's what they were scared of. Do you know what I mean? But that's one of the reasons the music business didn't want that to go through. Because after I got that passed, I became public enemy number one in the music business, to be honest. You know, because I'd get above my station, to be honest. You know. And, you know.
Did you love that though? Because I would have loved that. Being a baddie, but a goodie.
I don't.
It's like Robin Hood.
No, obviously I do love it, but
it is like Robin Hood.
But the real truth is, if I'd worked out how much problems it was going to cause in later life, because people are like, oh, you know, like he got above his station. Do you know what I mean? You know, because I was always, before I'd done that particular thing, you know, it was like I was just the idiot that signed Oasis and sold 21 million boxes.
You could never be an idiot signing Oasis.
No, but you know what I mean? And they just were like, well, he's an idiot, but at the end of the day,
you're the guy with the fucking ear. He's
an idiot that sells records, and I think that was. So they were always okay with me. Ultimately, they were like patronising, but it was like they left me alone to be me. But then when I went and done that new deal for musicians, I was like, they hated me for letting it. It's funny that though,
but then you get these big companies that are tax dodging. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, but I think it's just you got to understand. It's like it's ego, isn't it? You know, I mean, these people are like, you know, that run the music industry. But back in the day, anyway, 20 years ago, when all that went down, they're just like, you know, they don't need some little kid for Glasgow coming and changing the law.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I got away above my station.
But we needed that, you know what I mean? And we were saying that you basically changed the face of that sort of culture in Britain. Really.
Right.
You know, I mean, that must be fucking mad to look back on and say, well, I changed this for so many, thousands and thousands of people.
But you know what? Nobody really, I'll be honest with you, you guys get it, but not a lot of people do get it. Because a lot of people are just offended that I was actually part of the government at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Man, you wasn't.
Oh, was this Hucknall?
But you know, I'll give you a really good story, right? Because you love the Libertines, right? It's like, so, you know, so I'm there. I'm changing the law, and I'm in Whitehall, and I'm in these big meetings with like government ministers and like blah blah blah, right? 1999, 1998, right? So I'm part of the government, right? 2004, 2003, I'm managing the Libertines. I'm in a white van. I'm sitting in the little round bit inside the van of the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Sitting in the wheel room inside the van. The van opens up and Pete Doherty jumps out and buys a load of crack. And at a certain point, I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? I'm like, 1 minute I'm like in the government, the next minute I'm in like basically I'm in Liverpool Street, like like watching Peter buy crack.
It's fucking right place, right time, man. That's it. It gives you scope, I guess, doesn't it?
It was an ironic moment, you know what I mean?
He's a fucking Robin Hood of music. You are. You're basically taking these fucking people that Noel Gallagher says it perfectly. You don't sign bands, you sign people.
Yeah, well, that's a degree of truth to that. I mean, I would sign people. I kind of believe everybody's got a great song in them or 2 great songs in them. And somebody like him, he's got 40 great songs in them. So it's a bit like, but most people have got a good record in them. So it's just if you can make it trundle on. Do you know what I mean?
Can we show you our record?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh. We'd love for this. I have to tell you a story, and I have to apologise on air. Alan, I think you might have blocked me on Facebook once upon a time. I was trying to peddle like this band, and I was sort of taking a lot of drugs at the time. I was like, Alan's going to get it, man. Alan's going to get it, man. I think he was like off to like Greece or Turkey, and I was like, Alan's replied, man. He's just going on holiday, so we'll chase him up after as well. So Alan, have you heard the story? I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but you got to listen to this song, man.
Yeah.
And I did recently, during my research for this show, you said, pushing like links is never going to work sometimes.
Yeah. No, I don't think you do. I think it's always by recommendation, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense. For anybody out there, I don't think I'm any different to anybody, right? To people that sign bands and stuff like that. Always find somebody that knows the guy or the girl, and if they can get into it, get them to recommend it. Because what it means is that person will click the link. Do you know what I mean? Because the idea that like you're going to find it from a cold call sort of vibe, just sending a link, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, Alan, I think we know you quite well now. We've had a good chat, and I recommend you listen to this band, Penny Royal. They are fucking amazing.
Is this the latest one?
We both sung in the band, but this one's Stu singing this one.
Do you know, we had an argument this morning about what song we play.
We did. We're telling you that we have a tumultuous relationship about things. This is why the band isn't actually together at the moment. Because of this shit this morning about roll necks and what I'm wearing and what song to play, Alan. So let's listen to this track.
And I want an honest opinion. Tell us if it's shit.
If it's shit, man, it'll just be funny. Do you know what I mean?
If it's shit, we're still putting your tagline on it, man.
Right. This is Penny Royal. This is us. And this is It Ain't Easy.
It ain't easy.
What do you reckon, Alan?
Right. Well, I think it's. Hey, it's Boomtown. I was there last night, right? Okay. What do I think? I think the music has got a good groove to it, but it needs another aspect. It needs like Kevin Shields, mad feedback, like intense guitar. And maybe goes on for about a minute because you need to give it light and shade. And at the moment, it's just it's too compressed. But if you just brought it in like about a minute or 30 seconds or 45 seconds of absolute sheer noise, it'd be great.
There we are, man. Do you know what? That's a lot better than I was expecting. You did full of shit.
I was expecting you to say, that's why I fucking blocked you, Midge. You shit, man.
Is this the only time you've ever had someone put a song forward and actually sit staring at you while you fucking listen to it and judge it?
I thought it was funny that you done it. I like that because it's like, and anybody listening to this, they'll be like, it's good. That's what actually it's so what this station's actually I think about because it's like it's unconventional. Do you know what I mean? It's great. But then I am, so I'll go along with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you for that. We did worry. We thought, what's Alan going to be like, man? Because he might just go, I fucking remember you, cunt. I'm off. That's why, man. But no, thank you so much for that, Alan. I mean, the band's not about anymore, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to play you one of my solo songs now. Sorry, Stu. I'm joking.
I'm joking. You ain't got no fucking solo song.
I have. I just haven't told you.
The only solo thing you done.
Fuck right. But anyway, there's a few things I want to talk about before we obviously end the show. I called you Pol Pot earlier, Alan McGee, because people try to put you down, and you've had death stare straight in your face a few times.
Yeah, I mean,
one time was LA.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking mental.
Yeah, it was. It was a. Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't as strange as it sounds. What it was off the back about 6 years of getting fucked up, and then I went on the plane, charlied off my tits, you know, drank in the plane, got carried off the plane, went to bed, and then do you know what I mean? You know, got up, and when I should have just went like, I'm having 2 weeks out, not doing anything, and got myself together. I went out partying again, and then ended up, you know, in the Cedar Sinai Hospital. Do you know what I mean? You know, like getting like, I don't know, like, you know.
What was it? Just it was a breakdown.
But that one was it was an overdose actually. That one.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, I mean, I survived, thank God.
You're sober now for
20. Yeah, but I'm been sober with drugs since '94. That Cedar Sinai. That's really did stop the drugs and stuff. I think when you nearly die, you do stop. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Well, that's what happened for me. Yeah.
And then about a year and a half ago, I got because that's what I'm saying to you. You know, like you're in a good place being sober because what you don't know is when you get into your like late 40s, and I'm 57, your body's things start not working. And I had like a year and a half ago, I was like nearly lost the gallbladder because I had colitis, and I was like, I think I was like a day away from being intensive care. My stomach blew up. I live in the middle of nowhere, and like, and my stomach had blown up, and like, you know, literally, and it was like a hernia was going to push through my stomach, and I went into the hospital, and I was going, oh, give me an antibiotic, and no idea what it was really ultimately, and then they kept me in, and then about 2 days later they went, you know, you what was it they said? My inflammation to blood was 345, and I went, I don't know what that means, and I went, well, you die at 800, you know, I mean, so you know, and they went, usually a man of your age, you would be to 0 to 5, but you were 345. You know? So I went, right, okay. I ended up being in there for about 9 or 10 days, and then they thought I was going to lose my gallbladder. And this is for any listen, whenever you've got stomach problems, change. What I did was I went vegetarian, and I went stopped coffee. And then I got on this apple cider vinegar stuff. And,
that's right, yeah.
And that really changed it for me. I think, you know, never lost the gallbladder, and I haven't had any more stomach problems. So
you swear by that stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I take it every day, man. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of write-ups about it, because I thought, what's Alan's going on about? And
I mean, a lot of you know, I think Victoria Beckham said you lose weight on it. So like all the yummy mummies went out and bought like hundreds of thousands of bottles. You know what I mean? But actually, it's really good for your health. I mean, Andy can be bothered to look after himself, which I do advise you, Boogaloo Massive, to do. Go and get yourself some apple cider vinegar.
Well, that might as well be that fucking non-alcoholic wine. It does taste a bit like Ribena with vinegar in it. It's fucking awful.
Well, it's okay after about the first month of taking it. You know, it's okay to drink. You know what I mean? You know.
But you got like really hooked on like your health after like the whole drug thing.
Yeah, I did. I went into the gym, and I was running 5 miles a day and blah blah blah.
That's right. I watched the Omnibus.
Yeah. That's good program. But it's like
interesting.
And then I had a relapse with booze for a couple of years, about 2002, 2003, and I kind of stopped going to the gym, and I've only just recently started going, I'm going to try and get fit again.
I blame Pete Doherty for that. He was in the back of a white van with him.
No, you can't blame him for it. I was well on the way to fucking myself up, you know.
But did you have fun?
I wish I hadn't relapsed, but you know, with the booze for a couple of years. But the only thing I learned a big lesson that you go back on, you think it's for a drink, and it's 2.5 years later. Yeah. You know, you just can't go back.
It's a strange one. Like I've said to our listeners a few weeks ago of my relapse.
Yeah.
You learn a really important lesson from it. You go, it ain't as fucking good as you remember it.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it. I'm higher on life, you know. Do you ever feel like when you look back at like your life and career and you think, I really do miss drinking or taking drugs? Do you ever?
No, not anymore, man. No, I genuinely don't, because I'm old now. You know, I mean, I'm 57, but maybe when it was I think around the time about 40 or something, and you know, I probably was missing it then. Do you know what I mean? You know.
I remember you paid for a tent at Nebworth. A lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you went into the tent,
and
then you couldn't even get a non-alcoholic drink.
Yeah. That was.
And you wasn't allowed in there, was you?
No, a few times I was kicked out. You know what I mean? You know.
But you just go, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, but that was just, you know, that's just the nature. It's not about anything other than when things get that big, nobody everybody's just like ants. Do you know what I mean? And like you can easily get thrown out your own tent at that point.
But I mean, when you was there celebrating the birth celebrations in the tent that you bought and stuff, did you not think, I'll get on the champagne tonight, man?
No, I didn't know that. I mean, I was like, I was. I think I was overcome by the bigness of it, if I was being honest. Do you know what I mean? I think Noel Gallagher was, when I went backstage to see Noel on the second night, he was in this little this caravan, and it was the only time I've ever seen Noel Gallagher didn't have anything to say. And
really?
Yeah, because he's a really like chatty kind of like
of course,
like one-liners the whole time. And
this was after the whole weekend.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he was monged out. It wasn't that. He was just. I think the energy of 125,000 people 2 nights in a row is so intense. I think he was wiped out. Do you know what I mean?
That's fucking amazing. I remember the story at an award ceremony. You give out to Oasis gifts, and you give them all watches, and you give Noel a chocolate brown Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
And
it's good for his voice.
Isn't T-Rex is your favourite or your first record?
Yeah, Get It On. Yeah.
That's it.
You've done your research.
I have. But I always loved that story where was it Noel see the Rolls Royce outside, said that's mine, and you fucking said, who the fuck told him, man?
I don't really know what the truth is of that, but it's like, but I did give him it, and it wasn't expensive. I think it was about $9,000 or $10,000. It was a real banger Rolls Royce. They had for ages, and then I think he sold it. But
not too expensive at $10,000.
No, but I think they're really expensive cars. I think if you buy a new one, it's about $200,000. But
it's a statement, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but I got him one. But the joke was when I was in, it was outside. What was it? It was at the Halcyon Hotel. It was 95 or 96, and I was in this Rolls Royce that I just bought, and somebody had delivered it, and it was about half an hour before he shows up. I'm sitting in the Rolls Royce, right? And I'm thinking, I fucking don't want to give him it. I want to keep it.
I do love that. I love what Noel said about it. It's one of the greatest things. He said, I love that McGee bought me a Rolls Royce. I can't drive, but you give Liam a watch, he can't tell the time. It's fucking quality. Is there anything that you regret with your career? Anything?
Well, if you could do it all again, would you do anything differently?
Yeah, I'm just glad that I'm still alive and I'm still doing it, man. If the real truth is, you know what I mean. But what do I regret? Yeah, there's different things. Look, of course, there's slight regrets. Do you know what I mean? That I should have maybe at a certain point been more. I should have been maybe be a bit more calm at times. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like just getting off my tits. But it's life.
It's one of them things. It's like the butterfly effect. If you'd done one thing different, maybe then it wouldn't have fucking rolled into something else. And so
I'm not like ultimately, I mean, that journey, and the journey still is fucking great. So it's like I'm glad that I've done what I've done. But sometimes I look back and think, if you'd just been a wee bit more calm instead of being fucking lunatic, it'd have been a little bit differently. You know what I mean?
This interview wouldn't have been as interesting, though, would it?
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, Alan.
Yeah.
What is the next step for Creation 23? What?
Oh, we got like a little band, Rubber Jaw, first release.
Jaw, they're from Essex, aren't they?
Yeah. And then we've got a band for LA that are great. They're an electro punk band, And then I just found a band over the hill that I was telling you boys about, And and it's great, I mean, it's like, I just like it's the first three tracks, first three songs, first three records are all going to be good. So, you're as good as the bands you put out.
And where can people find them, Alan?
If you put in a Creation 23, you can buy the first one off the website that we've created with Townsend.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming in,
Alan.
You must come back.
Yeah, I'll come back.
You must do.
Can we come in and we'll chat about maybe at the end of the year, Creation 23?
Should we do a Creation 23 show?
Yeah. Do that at the end of the year. And I've got everything I can play. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest,
maybe
mate.
December or something like that.
Maybe we sharpened our sound up by then.
Yeah, that wall of sound will be there. Thank you, Alan.
Cheers,
Alan.
Good night.